Hello and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm Wes Decker. So good to have you along this week. We've got a lot to cover once again. County soccer tournament championships have been decided. We have representatives from the winning teams here to talk about just how they got the job done on Saturday night. Plus, St. James football has some representation in the house coming up. But first, we start with Herald Mail insider Bob Parsaliti. Football just ahead, but first I wanted to hit on the brand new, at least to Washington County, the Central Maryland Conference.
Well, I think that it's a great option for them. I mean, last year when they decided to, or 2 years ago now, they decided to break up the MVAL, that was one of three options. Get in back with Frederick, expand toward Cumberland and get them involved, or expand down toward West Virginia and get Panhandle involved. And they went back to Frederick, which seems to be a natural. It's the easiest travel, even though, you got to go over the mountain. But it's a good fit, I think. I mean, a lot of those schools, they're bigger, but in the sports that they're playing, size really doesn't matter a lot, I mean, football's the one where the size really matters, and they're not going to be playing football at this point. But I think it's a great move.
Yeah, and championships will be decided in all the other sports, and there will be two divisions, one primarily made up of 3A schools, and then the other one made up of 2As and 1As, so they'll divide them up that way in terms of classifications, and all of that starts fall of next year.
And it makes a lot of sense, really, I mean, to do it that way. The one option that I thought for football they could do is make it 3 5-team divisions. Play the biggest schools against the biggest schools, the smallest schools against the smallest schools, and then you got the ones that are kind of 2A, 3A in the middle. And then make it so that they play, up or down, so the 2A teams or the second division teams get the most traffic, but, you play up or down a little bit with the rest of the teams, and then like the Mid-Penn does in Pennsylvania, every couple of years just rearrange it because of size and things like that to get things set up. I think that could work very easily for football if they ever decided.
Yeah, that would seem to be an equitable solution. So the schools will be in there from Washington County, North and South Hagerstown, and then you have Williamsport, Smithsburg, and Boonesboro, who will all be members. Clear Spring and Hancock will continue to be independent and play independent schedules. But as Bob said, that does not include football, which is bit of an imperfect segue into our football for this week, but that's where we go now. We start with the South Hagerstown Rebels. You and I both saw the game on Friday night. Rebels at home against South Carroll, and they knocked themselves off course at times in that game with errant snaps, plenty of penalties, but they stayed the course by executing well enough on 2 long touchdown drives before finally prevailing in overtime.
Well, talking to Coach Toby Peer afterwards, he says this is the hardest working team I've ever had, or one of the hardest I've ever had. And, this is a team that very easily, you could have said, written off at the beginning of the year. I mean, everybody's young. They, that group that was the last 2 years, everybody's gone out of there, I mean, it's very easy to write them off. But over the course of the 3 games, if you sit down and you look at it, they've proven something different in each of those games to win. This particular game, they made a lot of mistakes, but it didn't bother them. They prevailed in situations, and I think the big thing is they don't make the fatal mistakes. They just make the little ones that make things tougher on them. And I think they grew up a little bit in this one. Having to play this game in overtime is a tight game, I mean, they came back against Urbana. They were 10-0. They scored 30 points. The first week was a kind of a get-even type of game against Mervo. So this one was a huge, huge game for them for that.
Yeah, and South wins at 20-14 in overtime. And as you said, some of those drives were long because they made them long. But again, if a high school team can navigate the field on drives like they did, 16 plays, 83 yards, and then 12 plays, 73 yards, you're definitely doing something right in the long run to get into the end zone. And then in overtime, after a terrific stand defensively, Talik McKenzie, who scored all 3 touchdowns, goes in on the very first play to give South the win. So they got the ultimate payoff in that one. And as you said, I think, with Linganore coming up this week, a team that has been a real nemesis for South Hagerstown, huge confidence boost going into that one.
And those long those long drives were products of the penalties and the snaps, putting them back. I mean, they were self-inflicted. It was funny that they weren't limping around from shooting themselves in the foot so much.
Yeah, it was one of those games where it's not going to go in an art museum. It wasn't an aesthetically pleasing win, but man, it was a heck of a satisfying W for South Hagerstown as the Rebels go to 2-3 3-0, and they'll face 2-1 Linganore coming up this Friday. Boonesboro over Brunswick by a score of 58-0. The Warriors averaged 3.8 points per minute in the opening quarter, sprinting out to a 45-0 lead after the opening 12 minutes. And they rushed, oh, by the way, for 224 yards in the first quarter alone. I mean, it was just a complete mismatch.
Well, I think that was expected on the way in. I mean, Brunswick has had trouble against Fort Hill, which, I mean, everybody has trouble with Fort Hill, but 73 or 77 points they gave up there.
Yeah, it was a real indicator of what potentially was to come in this one.
And from what I understand, from what I heard, I mean, they were on the verge of folding that program before this game because kids quit and had to move some kids around, and they brought all their JVs up. So they melted the JV program. So, I mean, it had to be expected. It probably could have been a heck of a lot worse. I know Clayton Anders doesn't really like those kind of games, and there's guys out there that would try to run him up, but I think there's only so much you can do to stop kids from scoring outside of maybe just walking off the field and.
Well, they even truncated the quarters in the second half. An entirely different animal coming up this Friday, though, at Middletown for Boonesboro. Middletown 2-1. Boonesboro goes in 3-0.
And the interesting thing about that was it was Linganore against Middletown last week, and that was a 13-12 game.
Right.
So, I mean, that was a war, and I think that these games are going to be wars.
Yeah. Liberty defeats Williamsport in the Wildcats home opener 27-2. So Williamsport drops to 1-2, a chance to get back to even against Berkeley Springs coming up on Friday. Century over North Hagerstown 42-15. The Hubs got their first lead of the season in the first quarter, going up 8-7 as Chase Metz followed up a Ben Stottlemyre touchdown with a 2-point conversion. They also got their first touchdown pass later in the game from Scott Neal, but Century still wins it by 27 points. Northern Garrett over Clear Springs 68-7. The Blazers slipped to 1-2. They've been outscored 109-7 in their last two losses. Play at Hancock coming up on Friday. Clear Springs won the last 2 and 3 of the last 4 against the Panthers, who have now started off 0-3 on the season, but a big rivalry game there. And Smithsburg hasn't started 0-4 since 2013, but the Leopards are 0-3 after a 21-0 setback to Fairfield last Friday night. They get Catoctin coming up this week. So that's a look at football and everything we've got. Everything kind of shaping up one way or the other right now. We've got a lot of haves and we've got some have-nots in the county. We'll see if anybody can turn it around this week. Full results coming up next week. Bob, another whirlwind for us. I'll see you back then.
All right, we'll see you. Thanks for having me.
I'll be back right after this with the St. James Saints in the house in just a moment.
At Hagerstown Ford, we charge less, period. We're the largest Ford store in the tri-state area. #1 for only one reason. We charge less, period. Hagerstown Ford delivers. We'll bring your new ride to you and do the whole deal sitting at your kitchen table. Easy peasy. Get more for your trade, easy on-the-spot financing, and the lowest prices on the East Coast guaranteed. And if we can't beat their deal, we'll buy that car for you. Hagerstown Ford, we charge less, period.
Welcome back to the show. We continue with more football now, and on Saturday, the St. James Saints made another statement here in the early going with their second win in 3 games, a 40-0 victory over St. John's Catholic Prep. And joining me now, 3 of those victorious Saints, Cole Menas, John Metchie, and Tyler Raymond. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
This is kind of reciprocity in a way. You had me out to your place on Saturday, so I have you in this week on the show. And Cole, first of all, congratulations on the victory. Very much a team effort. Talk about the defense this year and how improved you are on that side of the ball this season, especially so far.
So we've changed from what we did last year to a simple 3-5, and it's a lot simpler than usual, and we kind of collide a lot better with our outside linebackers and corners by doing a lot more stuff in practice together and really getting the coverages on lock so we can cover the pass. And then our inside guys are pretty strong, so they fill the run really well.
And how has the change of position helped you personally from being in the secondary to playing outside linebacker?
From the secondary, it's just a lot harder from like getting off the ball and more getting into your zone as a outside linebacker, and you get more into the plays on run game, so it's a lot better normally.
And John, you knew last year that this team had all kinds of capability when it came to offense, and the defense was the question. So with the defense playing so well, does that take a little pressure off on the offensive side?
Absolutely. Our defense always seems to get the offense rolling. Offense is always capable of moving the ball and throwing the ball, but it's mostly momentum that has us, which is what our defense gave to us that game.
Averaging 33.3 points right now through 3 games. Has to be a little bit frustrating to have a loss in between. How did that loss the previous Saturday against Mercersburg motivate you coming into this past Saturday's game against St. John's Catholic Prep?
We started by the day immediately after, the first practice after, and Coach talked about the game being won through the week rather than just on Saturday. So it started when we first got into film, then lifting, then throughout all practices all week, so that we were ready to get it done on Saturday.
And get it done, you did, no question of that. And Tyler, it all started very early. I know against Mercersburg there were some problems on special teams. Special teams, a little bit of an issue early on the punt play, but then you get the ball right back thanks to your defense. Your offense goes right to work. How nice is it to have a running back like Jalen Anderson this year, who really is a game breaker?
It's a great feeling. They always say a quarterback's best friend is a running back. Jalen has been able to take a lot of pressure off me this year and a lot of pressure off the offense. It's really nice when you can really balance out the offense where, if it's a 3rd and 2, yeah, we can pass the ball, but, also we have a great running back who can also get those 2 yards. It really makes the defense have to choose whether or not they're really going to try and anticipate whether it's a pass or a run. So it's really been helpful having Jalen Anderson back there this year.
And speaking of options, the guy beside you isn't a bad option either. And I asked Coach Kellick as we were broadcasting the game, what impresses you about St. James? And he just talked about all the packages that you employ, all the plays that you run. How comfortable are you with what seems to be a pretty big playbook?
It took some time. Freshman and sophomore year, there was some bumps in the road getting to know the playbook. But this year, I really feel comfortable. I know all the formations. I know where my guys are supposed to be. And I think what really helps is we've really grown in a sense, grown up using this playbook. Starting from freshman year, it's been the same playbook all the way through. So all the guys, when Coach calls a play, we know where we're supposed to be and what our responsibilities are. If Coach yells something from the sidelines, like a word or a code word, we all know. We're all on the same page all the time, and I think that really helps. And it really helps me as a quarterback knowing that I can trust my guys and know that they know where they need to be on every play. So that's really been helpful this year, just everyone kind of buying in and really knowing their responsibilities.
It's still incredible to me that when I look at the numbers and I see you're up to 60 touchdown passes now in your high school career, a county record that just keeps growing, but yet you're still such a humble guy. And you got nicked up a little bit on Saturday. What is right now the status of that injury with your thumb?
Right now we're just taking it day by day. I'm getting MRIs done. I'm getting tests done. So we're just going to see what happens with that. And as of right now, it's questionable. We're just taking it day by day. And hopefully on Saturday I'll be able to pad up and get out there. So we'll see.
Well, we certainly wish you the best on that count for sure. And John, let's go back to Saturday a little bit and the game that you played. Have you ever had a game where you scored a rushing touchdown from the quarterback position, no less, a touchdown reception, and then also returning a kickoff for a touchdown?
I think that's my first time at St. James doing all those from those 3 different positions. Yeah.
Yeah, now that's a pretty well-rounded day, and you also had a chance potentially for another touchdown, but it was called back because of a penalty. Mm-hmm. How do you assess your day overall on Saturday? I know you're a team guy, the win comes first, but just your performance on Saturday.
I was happy with my performance considering that pregame I was sick, so I couldn't do some of the pregame warm-ups, and that's why I wasn't in on defense much, but I turned out to do better than I thought I would.
And Cole, not a real big day for you offensively on Saturday, but defensively and on special teams, making some plays. Where do you say that this team is right now? How do you evaluate this team at this point?
At this point right now, I feel that we just need to kind of fix the little things. Like, we really need to assess the little things, and once we start assessing the little things, we'll be a great team, and we'll just continue to roll teams like we have been.
Yeah, only giving up 11.7 points per game right now. Market improvement from a year ago, and looking for bigger and better as the season goes along. Next game coming up on Saturday at home against FSK. Best of luck in that one, guys. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
I'll be back right after this, continuing with boys soccer. County championship winners are here when you come back.
Have you ever felt like you were up to your neck in alligators when trying to buy a used car? They promise you one thing, but don't deliver.
The payment is $100 more than you said. As is? If it's such a great car, why is it as is?
I'm going to High-Low Auto Sales. See you later, alligator.
When buying a car, don't try to wrestle with alligators.
Let the pros at High-Low worry about your credit. Hurry into High-Low Auto Sales, where you always get a 6-month, 6,000-mile warranty. Go to highlawautosales.com today.
Hamilton Nissan made buying my new Nissan Rogue an easy decision. Every car they sell automatically comes with their Hamilton for Life program. With it, I get free oil changes, free tire rotations, free car washes, and Hamilton's limited lifetime engine guarantee. And this mom didn't pay a dime for that peace of mind. It completely took the worrying out of car buying, and it's keeping my family on schedule, and we have a lot of places to go.
The Hamilton for Life program, getting you where you need to go.
Welcome back to the show. We continue with soccer now, and the county tournament champions decided on Saturday night for both girls and boys, and a couple of representatives of the boys champions, the Clear Spring Blazers, are here. Jare, Lazich, and Joe Miko. Welcome to the show, guys, along with the trophy. Glad you could bring that with you. I mean, it's actually a pretty cool looking trophy, and I noticed when they handed that out on Saturday night, everybody had a pretty tight grip on it. I think you can tell it's starting to take its toll just a little bit. But Jarrett, tell me about that game. I mean, what a dramatic finish. 1-0 Williamsport for the longest time, and then get a little bit of a break to tie the game at 1, and you might have had a little something to do with that. Tell me about that goal by Evan Ramashadi and where you were in proximity to the goalkeeper when it went in.
Yeah, Evan was coming down the sideline, and he looked up, saw me, and I was calling for it. And he put a great ball in, had a nice foot on it, and I was coming in high at the goalkeeper and just started floating and went over his head. And I don't know if I had a distraction to do with it or not, but it was definitely a great shot.
What was the feeling when you saw that ball go in the net?
Oh, there was just so much relief after the whole game, pushing and pushing. We had obviously multiple opportunities. We ended up shooting them 12-3 in the first half, and just finally putting one in the back of the net. Felt great.
And Joe, for you and the entire team, it just seemed to me as I've watched you throughout the tournament, from the first game against Williamsport, a 3-2 loss where they came back from a 1-goal deficit a couple of times, to the semifinal match where you beat Boonsboro, kind of just taking care of business, seemingly to get back to play Williamsport again for the championship. Describe your feeling in accomplishing that goal when Nick Faith scores in the late going to make it 2-1?
When Nick scored the goal, it was, like Jared said, it was relief, but then it was just celebration immediately, because after the whole game, we were putting in shots on Wood, who was making good saves here and there, or we were just blowing the ball over. Finally, getting 2 in those final couple minutes just made all of our hearts happy, because our fans were there if you didn't see him in the blackout, and then that was just our coach's goal from day one.
Well, there was speaking of Billy Wood, who did make some terrific saves, there was one in the second half where you fired it from point blank range. It looked like it was targeted for the back of the net, and he made an incredible save on it. What was the level of frustration for you guys before it finally went in? Because Jarrett mentioned it, you were out shooting them by a wide margin.
The frustration level was a little high, yeah, because we're used to putting in a lot of shots on the goalie, but then also getting goals out of it. But Wood, he's a quality goalkeeper, and we just knew that we were going to have to change it up to finally get one in on him. And I guess Ramashadi's chip was the key to success. Yeah,
boy, I can tell by the smiles on your faces. It certainly has not worn off yet, this county tournament championship. And Jarrett, as far as goalkeepers are concerned, you have a very young one in Colin Halterman, even though he's a senior, not a ton of experience. His inexperience showed up a little bit in the first match against Williamsport, but just how confident has he gotten at this point? Because he looks a lot more confident in net.
Oh, he's gotten a lot more confident, and we told him from that game on, he's our keeper, and we believe in him, and as far as we go, he's going with us.
And your game on Saturday night, and I know Williamsport made a concerted effort to try to make sure that it wasn't you who beat them. Clearly, when you're one of the leading goal scorers, the other team is going to plot and say, maybe we can't stop him, but we'll at least contain him. Talk a little bit about your game and what you experienced as far as what Williamsport was doing and how you helped this team get over the hump in playing against what they were strategizing against you throughout the course of the game.
Yeah, they definitely kept a lot more guys back, and they had almost 2 guys on me. And on through balls, which we try to do, they also had a defender back, so it was hard to keep my run going. But that opened up the sidelines, and obviously if we got them balls down the sideline and cross one in the middle and landed up on a foot like Nick, or eventually went in like Evan.
Joe, tell me a little bit about your role on the team, because you're a great facilitator in the midfield. Your free kicks usually pretty much right where they need to be. Obviously, you're trying to get the ball to your strikers a lot, namely Jare on many occasions. But tell me about your vision out there and what you feel your role is.
I'm just trying to get to the spot that supports the team the best. And for example, when the defenders have the ball, trying to go back and help them to either give them an option to me or just to bring a defender so they can then start dribbling. And then getting the ball, just trying to distribute throughout the field, having vision of the entire game, and figuring out what the best option is for Clear Spring to score.
Well, so far this season, you guys pretty much on point. 5 straight wins now after Saturday night. Congratulations on Clear Spring's 2nd county tournament championship, and maybe you could leave the trophy with me here for a while. That's a nice looking trophy. You guys be proud of that, and good luck the rest of the season. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be back right after this. Representatives of the girls county tournament champions from Williamsport when you come back.
Tony's Pizza in Williamsport has had the same simple philosophy since 1985. Start with simple products. Sauce from the best Italian tomatoes. The best cheese and dough made fresh every day. Then mix those with a great atmosphere, and you'll have the best dining experience you can find. Tony's is known for their pasta dishes, subs, pizzas, and specialty items like their Nutella Dots and the famous Crazy Tony. Simply put, they want to give the best food they can give to their customers. So stop in today to Tony's Pizza in Williamsport.
Welcome back to the show. We continue now with 3 members of the county champion Williamsport girls Wildcats team: Lexie Robinson, Hannah Moser, and Eryn McVicker. Welcome to the show, and congratulations on Saturday night's victory and a 2-0 win over North Hagerstown. Lexie, tell me a little bit about the pride that this team takes in playing defense, because in the county tournament, nobody scored against you.
Yeah, well, our team, we work really hard on defense, and even like our midfield make sure they get back to help on defense, and we have a great keeper who really helps us out, but it's just great when no one in the county has scored against you.
Hannah, what's the mentality for you defensively? Obviously it's your job to play defense, but at the same time, what motivates you? Because it's not a glamorous part of the sport.
I really like to stay organized, so as long as the 4 of us in the back and Maddie in the back are organized, and the rest of us, then we're good to go and ready to roll.
And Eryn, obviously everybody on this team really knows what their role is, and they thrive in their roles, and that's what makes a great team on the whole. Tell me about the way that I referred to you last year as sort of the engine that makes this team go. Can you talk a little bit about that and what you feel sort of falls on your shoulders?
We're all team captains, so we have a lot of roles we take on, but like a huge role that I try and excel in each game is the fact that I have to be a really positive energy and really have a good attitude towards the game, because people can sense when we're stressed out or when we're feeling bad about the game. So if we just push forward and if we stay positive and try and get everyone else positive, then it emphasizes the whole game and makes everyone play a lot better.
What was the key for your team to win on Saturday night and shut down what really is a high-powered offense in North Hagerstown?
Well, we all knew, like we know North is a very good team, so we knew where we needed to play and like what positions they're really strong in. Their striker up top, Lexie Pate, is super fast, and our defense knew that, and we handled that very well. And their center mids are very strong also, so there was always 3 in the middle, and I think we realized that, and we started playing like more defensively, and we started controlling the midfield, and that helped with our offense with Lexie and Taylor up top pushing forward against their defense, and then we created opportunities and scored.
Yes, you did. Not once, but twice. And Hannah, it was Taylor Neff who scored both of those goals, but certainly team-oriented goals, and that's what it takes to get the ball in the right position to put it in the net. But how good a feeling was it, especially to see that first one go in the net, knowing that you are such a good defensive team, and now you can work from ahead in the game?
It was a sigh of relief, honestly, because it was a high-pressure game. North was putting a lot of pressure on us, especially from shots with outside the box. And it was just a great feeling for a lot of people to be involved with the shots and the goals, especially good work by Taylor.
And Lexie, you set one of those up, picking up an assist. But tell me about just how cool this is to have 11 seniors on one team and the experience of already having won one county tournament championship. Did that play in on Saturday in helping you win a second one?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the 11 seniors, like, we've pretty much all played together since we were little, so we know each other and we know our strengths really well, and we play to that. And then a lot of us already playing in another county championship game, it like lets you know that like you can do it, and it's not as like nerve-wracking because you've been there before, and so you can kind of relax and play the game.
And how big a goal was this for Williamsport girls soccer team this year to win a county championship?
It was huge, like, because last year we lost and it kind of bummed us out, and we really wanted to like come back and like set the tone and say that like we're like someone to be reckoned with.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously you want to be tops in your county. If you can kind of check that off the list, then you can go from there. And Hannah, tell me about just how far you think this team can go this season. You have to go one step at a time, obviously. And coming up into that particular game on Saturday, and we've talked about it, we've underscored it. The defense has been great, but you get a couple of goals in that game. Do you feel like maybe the offense is kind of rounding into shape now, and all facets of the game are coming together?
Yes, definitely. Our defense, from all the way to our offense, has definitely improved. Our goal scoring has improved, which is a good goal of ours on our goal sheet. And speaking of our goals as a team collectively, I think we want to go states. We know that is our goal, winning states, going and playing in a big game. But of course, we have to get to the games like successive up to that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you got to get there first. But obviously headed in the right direction with the big county championship victory. And Eryn, as far as those goals are concerned, and we talked about the fact again, and it's astounding to me, 11 seniors on one team. Does that create any extra pressure, though, knowing that it's the final time, the final chance to accomplish a big goal?
I mean, obviously the season's very emotional because we do have so many seniors, but we all play like for each other. So like no matter what, if it's a starter or a person off the bench that comes in, like we all are very supportive. So even though it is a lot of pressure to like work hard, but everyone understands that and everyone knows their role and knows what to do. Everyone's very supportive, so like that helps push us further and like play as a team together.
And what's the dynamic of this team when, say, it comes to practice, when you have all that experience and girls who have been there that long and you have a big goal? I mean, does that just help you and motivate you in practice, knowing what ostensibly lies down the line for you?
Yeah, it definitely like is a point in practice. We try and practice how we play. So all of our practices are very intense, and we try and make every practice to be like it could be our last practice. So with like the pressure and everything that we know that we have to practice because the game's the next day. So we know like we want to practice hard just so we can have a good outcome in the game when we have the game. It's usually the next day, but.
Yeah. Well, off to a great start so far this season. Again, congratulations on the county tournament championship, and we look forward to watching the rest of the season and hopefully deep into the playoffs too.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Thanks for being here, and thanks to all of you for watching this week. Next week, it's week number 4's football, some volleyball, and much, much more. See you next time on The Inside.
Hey, your sisters and your brothers, your haters and your lovers, you gotta get up in the streets.